Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Lori. How are you?
Lauren, hello there.
And good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Small Biz Talk, Solutions for Your Small Business. My name is Lauren Simpson, and I am going to take 2 seconds to share my screen and give you some background as to who it is that we are, who we represent, and why we're here today. I'm like a serial multitasker. So you see all my tabs on my screen. Disregard all of that.
Sometimes I even confuse myself.
So good morning again. My name is Lauren Simpson. I am with the SBDC, or the Small Business Development Center. We have over 1,000 locations across the country, and we offer no-cost services to your local small business. And we are located, in terms of the Los Angeles network, we are located within the Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. And you can see those represented on the map in front of you. You can see that we're as far out as Camarillo, Santa Clarita, over to Pasadena, all the way down to Long Beach. So if you are a small business within any of those areas, please be sure to reach out to one of our centers. And again, we offer no-cost business advising, and it's at no cost to you because your tax dollars have already taken care of it. They've already paid for it. So any resources, any advising, any help that you receive from our office is free. And then we also offer virtual trainings, much like what you've attended today, or are attending today, excuse me. We also cover topics from marketing, finance, so you can actually work with the amazing Lori Williams, who is the guru of all numbers, or our special guest today, the social media goddess, Deborah Deras. And then please be sure to get in contact with us today. We'd love to work with you. For the Los Angeles area, you can reach out to 866-588-7232, or you can reach out to us online at smallbizla.org/new client. If you're outside of the Los Angeles area, you can reach out to americassbdc.org/find your SBDC. And then Lori, really quick.
Yep, I think about that. Go ahead, take your time, because this is something important for those who it applies to. Go ahead, add it.
So we have partnered with, we are one of the designated training partners for the California Dream Fund. And that program is offering providing micro grants of up to $10,000 to seed entrepreneurship and small business creation in California. All of that to say is in order to, there are several qualifications for the program, but please know that this program is for new business ventures. And then you can find information at smallbizla.org/dream fund. And with that, Lori, quick housekeeping. So if you have any questions, be sure to put those into our Q&A. Again, questions into the Q&A. The chat will be reserved for any links that Lori would like to provide to you, as well as you'll find our YouTube link, so you can see additional recordings from our shows, or past shows, excuse me. Good morning to you, Eliza. And then you'll also find a link to a submission form that we've created for you. And on that form, you can submit questions. You can also suggest show topics and let us know if you'd like to be on the show. And with that, Lori, I'm going to hand it off to you. Good morning to you again.
Good morning. And, just as a catch up, Lauren, I believe, and I'm not going to say for sure, but I believe I am all caught up on our wonderful audience who has contacted me for appointments or what have you. If Barbara's listening, I know she's a frequent flyer. I told her I'd get my schedule out. Barbara, check your email. My schedule is out there for us to do a one-on-one. So if anyone has not heard from me, heard from Lauren, reached out and haven't heard from us, email email. It's not always perfect. So please just come at us again and let us know. We try to catch up within the week. And like I said, sometimes I get a little bit behind because I get a lot of emails, but please just reach out because we're there for you. We want to chat with you. Okay, so before we get started today, I want to announce what's happening in our next show. We're going to have Stuart Atkins, which is the owner and founder of Atkins Marketing. Now, my goal for this show, starting this one and the next two, is we're really focusing on marketing, digital marketing, social media, sales. My focus is really all around getting new customers, clients, growing your company. And then, of course, after that, I am going to be doing a special Lori show where I'm going to tie the marketing information that we learn in with finance, and because they're both very important aspects. But right now, our goal is going to be marketing. So next week, we're going to have Stuart come and talk to us a little bit more about marketing and your website growing traffic. Now, Lauren is going to put this huge, long link in the chat. It's huge. It came from the IRS, guys. It's huge. But guess what? Tax time's right around the corner. Now, I'm going to assume everybody listening has all their taxes done, refunds are received, everything's accomplished. Right, guys? Right? All done? Well, this is only to those that said, no, I'm not, and you need to file an extension. Many people ask me, okay, what do? I need to file an extension. So IRS has a free, IRS has a free. That's unusual here, IRS and free together, guys. So right there, it's a catch. No, kidding with you. So you can go on this website that they show you, that Lauren's going to put the link into the chat, and you file form 4868, and that gives you an extension. It will give you up to October 17th to file. Now, what you're looking at on the slide and what's going in the link is going to be completely different, in the chat, I should say, because it's a lot of information. And please do read everything in the chat. I'm just putting the one slide up to talk about it. But the thing you want to know in the 3 bullets I kept aside, so the extension doesn't grant them an extension to pay your taxes. A lot of times people think, okay, I can file extension, it puts everything off. No, you still have to pay and estimate what you would have to pay. Otherwise, you will be assessed with penalties and late filing, et cetera, on your payments, not your return, but your payments. So keep that in mind. But hopefully the other thing, if anybody has any problems with these links being launched, like I said, I get these directly from the IRS, and they're in a newsletter, and they have the links attached to it. And Lauren checked the links this morning. They should be good to go. But if you have any problems, let me know. But that's just a shout out to anybody who has not been able to file their taxes, need to file an extension. Now, most people that are utilizing a CPA, they'll do it on your behalf. But I've had several people reach out to me recently that is not and needed to know how to do that. So I wanted to send the information out to you. Okay, guys. For those of you who have been frequent flyers and with me for a long time, first of all, I love that. Thank you so much. But you probably heard the last time we interviewed Deborah Deras. Deborah Deras is, as Lauren says, it's so much better. Lauren, you got to say the goddess. You say it better than I do. Lauren, tell us again, what is Deborah of social media?
Deborah Deras is the social media goddess.
There you go. Lauren does it much better. And I had to let her, I have to say that I'd love to be the financial goddess, but I have no magic fairy dust to make things happen. I'm like the black and white. But ready? I am here to give a warm welcome to Deborah Deras that is far from the black and white. Not only does she talk about social media and everything so exciting about that, but Deborah herself is as colorful as can be, and I just love her to death. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was awesome. Lori, I was reading your bio and I didn't realize we were both NLP practitioners.
You are kidding me.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to have an offline conversation about that.
That's our secret sauce. Everybody.
It's secret sauce. And I have been an NLP practitioner for decades. And I never even put it on my resume for the longest time until it became like cool, right? Because at one time it was like, oh, what is that?
That's how I was able to quit my job in 2002, because I had released the limiting beliefs that I could not run a business because I didn't feel I could. And that was just a subconscious belief gone. and I did it through the help of the SBDC plug.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to come back and have a complete conversation about that. That is fascinating. I thought you were going to say something about my various degrees, and I was going to say, actually, I learned most of everything I learned on the street, starting my company at 25 years old. And I always say to people, they've heard it before. My mother said I had more guts than brains, and I think there's some truth to that.
It's so
But
true.
Deborah, what I'd like to do today, and I've just got a couple questions to ask, and I'm going to let you frame it, but I'll tell you what I'm trying to achieve for our guests. I'm trying to get, and maybe it's probably not a word that you use as much, or maybe, but it's one I love: strategies. What do you do to have a strategy? So many times people either learn great detail, but they don't know how to execute a strategy, or it's so pie in the sky out there. They're like, okay, that was awesome, but what do I do? So I want to talk about strategies, and I'm going to ask a question, and you take it wherever you want to go with it, because I know wherever you go, we're going to learn a lot. But this is the one thing I notice. It could be in social media, it's across everything, but I see this so much in social media, and I'll tell you what I'm experiencing. So it has to do with, how do you know when a strategy is not working? And Deborah, where I'm coming from is, I see the finance, right? And unfortunately, I feel like in the last 2 years, I have worked with clients, and I'm looking at their financials, and they have this huge, huge amount that they paid to hire somebody for digital marketing or social media, right? And I said to them, because I'm doing the financial calculation, I'm not saying whether a social media strategy works. To me, it's black and white, it's numbers. And I'm going, man, this is not even an ROI for your overall income. This is not making sense. This is not logical. But they say I'm going to get a good return, and I got, every dollar I got a $2. I go, but you got your profit. It's not really making sense. So I have this entire financial discussion, right? But they say to me, well, how do I know if it's not working? Well, in my world, well, it doesn't buy a quart of milk. That's always my answer, right? But you've got more information. So here's the loaded question. Are you ready? How do you know when the strategy is not working? Many hold on, believing it will, but in the end, they end up throwing good money after bad ideas. Take it away.
Yeah, and strategy actually is a word that I do use quite a lot. In fact, when I meet with clients with SBDC, the first session is understanding their business model, if they have one, if it's working for them or against them. The second session, we actually put together a social media strategy, which is the equivalent of like a business plan. And what you said about small business owners spending money and hiring people, it hurts my soul. So I work with a lot of people in the Santa Barbara, Ventura County, and a lot of them have great budgets, and they'll spend $1,000, $2,000. And the challenge, what's happening is people think because they hire somebody that they have a strategy. They don't have a strategy. They have someone that sold them on an idea that said was a strategy. Because the thing about digital marketing, and I am attending a social media conference that's like 30 hours of content, is it's constantly changing. It's not like numbers, where numbers are numbers, 1 + 2, like it doesn't change, right? But with social media, how you use Facebook last year and how you use it this year is different. How you use Instagram, and I'm not saying it changes every day, but every year the strategy changes. Why? Because people's habits change. How we use social media during the pandemic and how we use social media, before the pandemic was very different. We definitely over-consumed content. So the biggest problem that I think small businesses have is that they trust in an agency. And what I am going to empower all of you 77 people that are here is that you understand. And so if you do decide to hire someone, you'll understand what works. So you have to know the rules of the game. So let's talk about basic strategy, right? First thing with any strategy starts with your goals, right? Obviously, all of you here, your number one goal is increasing your revenue, making money, right? Having your product be sold. So that's always going to be a goal. Number two goal is probably brand awareness, that you're the tissue to the Kleenex, that when they think of your product, it's synonymous with what you do. And a lot of that comes with understanding keywords, search engine optimization, because as much as we love the name of our company and the much as we came up with this creative thing that was in the family and it's so great, unless we're a household name, people don't know that. So part of our social media goal is to bring awareness so that they do know that it becomes second nature. A third goal might be to grow our email list. One of the biggest mistakes that small businesses make is they throw money or time or energy into social media without simultaneously building our email list. Many of you are here today because you got an email, right? Some of you saw it on Instagram, but probably the majority of you, you could put it in the chat. Did you hear about this through email or Instagram? I just want to do a little survey just to see, and you'll see in the chat what comes up. But really, social media is a chance for you. And I learned this from a Google seminar. It gives people to be aware of your business, but when you're where you are going to cultivate the leads and convert the sale is through email marketing, right? So the next thing in your strategy is to really, and this is where, again, small businesses sometimes aren't clear on, is they say, well, everyone can use my vegan product, and everyone can. But unless we have a target market that we start with, an ideal target market, trying to be everything to everyone is going to be nothing to no one. I say this all the time, right? And you're not going to own your lane. So we want to pick a lane and we want to own it. Think about somebody, let's use billionaire business owner examples. Oprah. When Oprah first started her business, she didn't say, oh, I'm going to motivate everyone everywhere. She says, I'm going to focus on the stay-at-home mother. Rihanna, she started as a music singer, dance hall, right? Young girl, came from the Barbados here. Once she owned her lane as that popular singer, she could expand her brand and go into makeup and go into lingerie. But she started with a target market, people that like dancehall, reggae, hip hop, right? And then she could expand that. So when we think about our strategy, it's what are our goals, and pick 2 or 3. I think where people get overwhelmed is they try to have 20 goals, right? And then they can't do anything. Or
I'm going to ask the stupid questions now, because the stupid marketing questions. So here's my first of all, email. I totally relate to email. I actually, as a finance person, I see emails as dollars. I do see emails as dollar signs. I really do. In fact, we're going back some time ago. I used to always say, because I was then more on site, and I would give away my speeches if I got the email list. I would say, I speak for emails, because my books and everything, I had my email marketing list, and as long as my email marketing list was the right targeted market, I was good to go. So of your 3, I'm going to say email, got it. I'm going to come back and ask a question about the other 2 though, okay? I get awareness to a point, and I'll tell you where I'm going to ask, and also own your lane. I get them in concept, but this is what I'm curious about. You have social media, which is far reaching, right? And it was in the olden days where if I wanted to target my market, I would buy perhaps a mailing list before email, right? Of
Right.
this geography, this zip code. Then my message would be this zip code. And then I would be able to have a coupon. We're talking old time, I know, but I'm just using an example. But I'd have a coupon in that flyer, and they would use that coupon to purchase. And that's what I was doing, Deborah. I was like, here's my market, here's my message, here's my return on investment percentage, check. Well, awareness seems to be very vague, and I hear people say, well, I'm not getting many sales, but I'm getting awareness. And I go, well, how do you know? And then when they say, well, I'm targeting to my market, well, how do you know? And so that's my dumb questions. How do you make sure those 2 are met? How do you measure those? How do you manage? Remember, I'm finance, measure, manage. How do you take those disciplined thoughts I have into that strategy to make sure you're going in the right direction?
Well, how do you measure if your awareness is working? So when I say awareness may be different, let me just define it. So when we do posts, when I coach people to do posts, I recommend 3 types of posts. Educate them on your product or service. So I was just talking with a vegan who also does veggie. I'm like, oh my God, cheese. You got to let people know, or they're going to boycott you because they see a piece of cheese on your carne that's vegan. You know what I mean? So educate people what your product and service is. Brand awareness is what makes you unique. It's your brand story. It's how is Kentucky Fried Chicken different than, I don't even know, I don't eat chicken out in the world, but Pioneer Chicken or what other chickens are out there? Church's Chicken, right? Church's Chicken. I used to do a speaking gig for Church's Chicken, right? So that when I say brand awareness, how can you measure awareness? If you are on social media and you understand your target market, this is why in my strategy plan, and I'm sure any marketing plan, you spend time getting to know your avatar. You need to be speaking not to everyone and everything, directly to, and I told the vegan person I was just coaching, you're not speaking to the seasoned, no pun intended, vegan. You're speaking to the meat eater that's casually eating vegan food because you're trying to get them to become accustomed to that lifestyle. That's your target market. And how you know your brand awareness is working is if your content resonates with your target market because it's relatable. When it resonates to them, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be able to quantify this. You're going to love this because it's going to be numbers. Is when you do your third post, which is the call to action post, that's when you're going to have a lead generator. And the lead generator is just like that coupon. You're going to give them some sort of a gift, some sort of an incentive to sign up for your email list. So you know your social media strategy is working if your email list is growing. If you're not making sales, and I have another strategy for sales, 5-step strategy for sales, then you're missing a step. And we can course correct that.
Gotcha. So, I wonder, Deborah, do you find, this is what I'm perceiving, but I don't, focus in this area. A lot of people miss that call to action. And so they just keep going out and talking and advertising and talking, and they're not putting the call to action because I got to say, Deborah, remember, I'm in social media stupid. I wouldn't have thought about call to action being part of the social media strategy. So I bet other people aren't doing it. So that, like, if I got an Instagram, say I have an
Can I say
Instagram.
something about that for a second?
Tell me more about that. That's what I was going to ask. What does that look like?
So the challenge is, there's two challenges. Either people are asking, like I was coaching a real estate agent and I looked at her Facebook page and everything was asking for the sale, asking. You can't just have a house and call me. You have to do a Facebook Live and educate why you're the best real estate agent, what kind of service you provide, how you're going to go, beyond the call of duty. You know what I mean? So that education of how there's lots of real estate agents, but how you're going to be the best for them, right? So it's kind of like, I'm a dancer, so it's kind of like a dance, salsa, samba, cumbia. I actually got a speaking engagement from Facebook teaching samba to some corporation because they saw it on my Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, I got to prepare my samba. Okay. So like in dance, it's like quick, slow, right? So in social media, it's give, ask. It's just like any relationship. Take the complication out of social media. In a relationship, if you right away, as soon as you meet someone, they ask you for something,
I know lots of them.
like, whoa, okay, there's no rapport. But if they're giving you something, like, here, let me give you, like, you're, as a real estate agent, maybe you're giving them valuable information about the market. Maybe you're giving them information about the interest rate. Maybe you're giving them information about the new creative type of loans. Maybe you're giving them information that they didn't know about, creative ways that you could get a better deal, right? Then when you ask, what we say in marketing, you've earned the right. In fact, they want you to offer something if you're not offering something. And when I say call to action, I'm not saying close the sale on social media. I'm saying capture, and I have a 5-step program for selling, and we can talk about that. You capture them on your email list so you can cultivate that relationship. It's like dating. You don't ask someone on the first date, will you marry me? You say, can I get your phone number? Get them on the email list. Then once you get the phone number, how are you doing today, sweetie? And then you're like giving them great content. Some of you, and I was you, I didn't understand email marketing until I went to B school with Marie Forleo. If anybody knows Marie Forleo, she was on Oprah, leading marketer. And I learned so much from her. Just from taking a little email marketing course, I increased my revenue by 35,000 extra a year because I saw that I was leaving money on the table by not staying on the top of the mind of my customer. Your customer isn't going to go to the best person. They're going to go to the one they remember, the
Yeah.
one that's on the top of their mind. And that's what email does.
Well, I found the power of email marketing when it first actually became popular because I was doing more on-site classes, how to read financial statements, all these type of classes. And so I would go out into a association, a business association. I would give a speech. I would collect the emails. Then I would have newsletters that go out, and then I would advertise my on-site classes. And what I identified, I remember this, Deborah, and it's something that you spoke of just now. And I'm telling this story to anybody out there that sells services, especially information. I was walking through a store one time, and they were giving away samples like a cookie or something. I don't even care what it was, right? And I was watching how everybody was going up and taking the cookie sample and then buying the cookie, right? And so I was like, at the time thinking, well, I sell information, I wish I could do samples. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What I sell is intellect, and I can give samples in intellect. I can give speeches, I can give PDFs, and that's what you're saying, you're giving intellect so they can taste the intellect, if you will, just like the cookie, you can taste the intellect, and then you identify, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. I'd like to purchase them. I'd like to go with them. So that makes complete sense. Now,
Yeah. And in marketing, they call that the pink spoon technique. My first job was a yogurt girl, and I wouldn't say, hi, would you like to buy a pint of chocolate? No, I would say, would you like to taste the free, and then you give them a spoonful. So whether you have a product or a service, people need to try before they buy. Have you noticed Amazon is letting you try clothes before you buy it? If you don't return it, you keep it. And the reason for that is because people, your customers, need social proof that your product, your service is going to work for them. So the more they're able to see it, hear it, feel it, that's why video is the most powerful thing you could do on social media.
Now, before we leave those three, because I'm going to go into your sales strategy methods next, but before we leave these, here's another thing I wonder about. You know how people get lots of likes? And I always have this, there's an old country western song that says, if I have $1 for every time I sang a song. I changed it to say, if I have $1 for every time I get a like, I'd be rich. So I see a lot of times where this is what I'm hearing customers or clients, that come to me for the finance. When I ask them about their social media, that they're spending so much money, they say, but I get a lot of likes. So it makes me think that there's not necessarily, and here's the question, what is the correlation between a like and actually purchasing? Is there any info or comments you could make on that where people could be more aware of what a like really means?
Well, a like means nothing. So I just attended I'm like, does likes pay the rent? No.
Like I poured milk,
So, I mean, Michael Stelzner has a wonderful podcast called I think it's called Social Media Marketing Strategy. Michael Stelzner, I listened to it on Spotify. He's the one that put together the social media conference that I'm about to consume 40 hours worth. And I'm going to be doing a great webinar with SBDC next month on summarizing all that I've learned from this conference. But
okay, Lauren, we got to get that out when Deborah does that. Deborah, will you send that to us so we can announce it on our show? Because I know everybody on the show is going to want to know that. So we got to stick you to it, okay?
Yeah, I only attended one session and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to get on TikTok. I was like, dang. Anyway, it was like disappointing. But anyway, so what were you saying? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
Hey, no, likes. What's the worth of a like?
Oh, it's worth nothing. So Michael Stelzner said, what is worth something that has value is engagement. So social media, so real estate is location, location, location. You like my analogies? Social media is engagement, engagement, engagement. What is engagement? It's a comment or a share, which leads me to my 5-step. If you want to go into
5-step. Yeah, no, go, because I was going there next. Keep going.
Okay. So when we're on social media, whether you hire someone or you're doing it yourself, the first thing that you're doing is you're connecting with them. Like they're friending you, you're linking in, you're connecting, right? And so a lot of people think, well, once I connect, oh, I have this many followers, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. Even they were saying at the conference that your followers don't mean anything either anymore. That's nobody's going to even look at the number of followers you have. Before it was like a big thing. How many do you have? You need
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Now it's not going to be a thing. Okay. So you connect with people, but what is the next step? The next step is you need to communicate. And I think I said this on your show last time. I hope I'm not repeating myself, but hopefully there's new people. You need to hear it again.
New people, and we can all hear it more than once.
You walk into like a retail store and you walk in the door, they say, oh, hi, how are you doing today, ma'am? Let me know if you need anything. What are they doing? You know, you've connected with them, they've walked in the store, but now you're communicating. When you're starting a sales cycle, you need to have that first point, right? That question. Whoever is asking the questions and listening has the power in sales. Read any book in negotiation. It's not the talker, it's the listener, right? So social media, part of our strategy should be not only asking questions that are going to get people to communicate with you, but it's starting conversations so that you understand, like a focus group, the needs and pains of your ideal customer, not just anybody, your ideal customer. The more you communicate, the better the algorithm is going to put you higher. You're going to get more visibility. Every platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, they don't show your content based on how often you post or what you post. Do you know what they show you or how many likes you get?
No, what is it?
Content based on how much engagement you get, how many comments you have. So every time somebody comments, you should reply. Why is that? Because the social media platforms are advertising agencies. They make money from eyeballs and sales. That's why third-party scheduling posting does not work for your social media strategy. You need to be live on there. So the more people comment, not only are you developing the rapport, because it takes 7 to 10 impressions to make the sale, right? Numbers, you love the numbers, Lori. Okay, but it's getting them to start. It's building rapport. Did you watch The Tinder Swindler? Did you watch Anna, Inventing Anna? Did you watch, what was the other, Elizabeth Holmes, Bad Blood, Dropout, right? How did these people get so many people to invest in whatever they wanted? It was through developing, they were not for good, you're for good, they were for evil, but it was the rapport building, right?
So communication is two-way is what I'm saying, two numbers. You communicate and they communicate back by commenting, and then you communicate. So when we say communicate, we're not like communicating our message. We're talking about a communication that's an engagement. It's two-part.
You know what I should change it to? Conversation. Because a conversation is a two-way street. I'm not going to call it communication because a conversation goes both ways, right?
Right. And that's what I was hearing is like when you first communicate, I was thinking communicate your message, like old marketing terms. But while I was listening to you and you were saying comments and reply, I realized it was two ways.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, I think we don't realize how important that is. And most social media people that you buy, they're coming from an advertising world. So they'll throw an ad and they'll put it out there. They're not thinking of the psychology, emotional connection of it, where like people, like you put something out there and then people are saying things like, I know a social media strategist that, lost all his speaking engagements when we shut down. So he started selling masks and he would say, so what do you think of the mask policy? Everybody's talking, but it was wonderful, whether they were for it or against it. He was like, it's interesting you say that. I just launched this new company, check it out, right? And so, but it's really important that you start our conversation. So like if you went into a store, Lori, and they didn't say, how are you doing today? Which a lot of the younger generations don't do.
Right.
You could easily walk in and walk out guilt-free because there wasn't an open-ended cycle of the sales, right? Because they didn't say anything to you. So you don't feel bad to walk out, right? So communication is really, really important. Not only for you to say things that compel your audience to comment, but also for you to listen to what their pains are so that when you do your next post, you're getting that information where it hurts, right? Because that's when they're going to buy. People are not compelled to buy until they have a pain. And it could be a pain where I need that hat, I need that belt. It doesn't have to be, food. The next thing that we want to do is once we've connected, once we've communicated, is what I said before, is capture the lead. Give them that coupon, that VIP discount to get on your email list. Because one thing that we have to realize, and you may already know this, is that Facebook, Instagram, look what happened to Kanye, can close you down anytime.
Yeah.
Any reason. So you don't own your email list in fact, if you have a YouTube channel, you have 1,000 subscribers, it means nothing because YouTube owns that. You don't have that list. You can't retarget that list. You could do a video. So you want to make sure that you have some sort of a lead generator. I just did a webinar yesterday on how to create a lead generator that gets them to want to join your email list. And what's going to get them to join your email list is not join my email list or subscribe. Nobody wants another email, but if they get value from it, right? Maybe they're going to get, like with the SBDC, you join our email list so you find out the latest webinars because, maybe there's a Dream Fund grant. Maybe there's, new laws with taxes. We need to know these things. The next thing is once you capture them, this is where I and many other small businesses went wrong. You actually have to nurture and cultivate, right? It's like when you get in a relationship, you can't just coast and just lay back. I'm just going to drink beer and watch TV on the couch. I don't even know. You have to actually wine and dine. You got to keep the romance alive, right? So you got to cultivate that lead. How are you going to cultivate that lead? You don't have to do long emails because nobody reads. Just short little tips, information, even like somebody like Macy's. They're not sending you a long letter every week. They're just having pictures. You may want to consider this for springtime. Mother's Day is coming up. You're giving people ideas of how they could use your product and service.
Any tidbits on how often? Because that's the question. Too much is annoying. Not enough is too distant. What's your statements on that?
The typical recommended email is once a week. And like I said, it does not have to be full of text. If you want to subscribe to a great email, Marie Forleo, my business coach, you could go to her site, marieforleo.com. Pretty awesome. And get her. And her email is basically driving you to her YouTube because her YouTube is giving the infopreneur little tip. It's giving the pink spoon of her program, right? Okay. So she's doing short little videos that's getting people in. So you're doing it once a week and it's short and sweet. It's value-based. The subject line should be 2 words, 3 max, and very personalized. The more it's personal, usually when people subscribe to your email list, they put their name and email. So if you could say, guess what, Lori, you're going to be more likely to open it. So you could, in the subject line, put guess what, and then a little comma, and then first name. It'll insert everybody's name, right?
Okay.
Another hack with email to get people to get more value and traction from your email conversion is to ask them a question to start a conversation on the email, because with Gmail, it moves it from promotions to priority box. So people will be more likely to read it the next time you send it, because once people reply to your email, the Gmail system, I don't know about Yahoo and AOL and all of them, it considers you guys to have a relationship because you're communicating. Again, communication. Sales is all communication.
And is that question in the subject line? Just to go back for clarity, the question is in the subject, it's in the text. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure I got.
The subject line is only 2 to 3 words.
Okay.
And the shorter, like I used to, the subject, I'm thinking literal. I used to put what it is. This is an invitation to here. Nobody's opening it. But if I put, you're invited, Lori, you're like, Deborah.
I could see that. Yeah, because everybody wants to
go.
Oh, yes. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So keep going.
So you're cultivating your lead by once a week, giving them specials, reminding them why they need. And what we do with social media and email marketing is we are so good, like the Tinder swindler, at understanding. Also, Anna, she's my friend on Instagram. Anna, tell me they deported her to Germany. Understanding the pain points of our target market, that we bring those up so that we relieve their pain by them buying our product or service. It relieves their pain, whether it's a Victoria's Secret bra or if it's a vegan sausage, right? whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We need to bring up the pain of not having that so that they want it, because human psychology is pain and pleasure. But if pleasure would get people to take action, everybody would be eating healthy. Everybody would be their perfect size. You know what I mean? We would already do it. We wouldn't wait till the doctor says you have high blood pressure or high sugar to eat healthy. We would just do it for pleasure, right? But no, we do it when we're in pain.
I know I mentioned this last time. I see that a lot of people don't understand exactly what the pain, what they perceive it to be is not what their customer perceives. And I brought this up last time as my
Yes.
example. This was once again years ago when I did my on-site seminars. I used to put things like, come here to understand profitability of your company, got nowhere. And then I changed the headline to, do you stay awake at night wondering if your company will fail? Amazing number of signups. And so I didn't think that way. It wasn't in my process because my thoughts, profitability, you got to know profitability. Everybody worries all day about, am I profitable? I'm like, no, you're selling to small businesses. They don't even use that word. They go, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And so I really had to leave myself and get rid of my perceptions of things to come up with my pain point.
Lori, you hit the nail on the head. In fact, what I invite everyone to do is don't think like yourself, because you're so in the world of your business 24/7. Imagine your ideal target market. Think like them. Just for a moment, put on the hat. Because I, like you, like my first company was called Passionate Living Now, and it was a life coaching business. And I said, would you like to live the life of your dreams? Would you like to have passion, purpose, and prosperity? Nobody signed up. And so I changed it to, because I think like you in the positive, right? So I changed it to, are you sick of your dead end job? Do you want to stop being like a hamster on a wheel and create a business that you love? And then everybody signed up.
I know, it's amazing. And another thing that I did, once again, just looking at the finance, but it still has a marketing advice to it. People didn't have money for the marketing to where to find these customers, where to actually find them. And I used to tell them, I go, pretend your body is floating above the earth and you've got a marker, a magic marker in your hand, right? You see where I'm going to go with this, right? And now you're going to float above your local area and you're zoning down, and wherever you see one of your potential customers, put an X on the map. Maybe it's the yogurt shop. Maybe they just went to yoga. I want you to actually stalk them above and go, they left their house, they dropped their kid off at the nursery, then they did this, and make X's everywhere they went. And then look at the map, wherever you see the most X's, go to that place, whether it's maybe the yogurt shop, and do an ad, or the nursery, and see if you can do some co-marketing. And that was my answer to how to figure out how to use marketing dollars financially effective. And before I quit, hey guys, if you got questions, I see some are starting to flow in the Q&A. I'm watching that. I'm going to ask Deborah questions. So I just want to say to the audience before we're out of time, you got any specific questions, throw them in there. I'm going to be watching them for Deborah. Back to you. Keep going with our list, Deborah.
Okay. So number one, if you guys want to put this in the chat, maybe Lauren can put in the chat, is you're connecting with them, right? That's just step one. Connecting does not lead to sales. Connecting just leads to numbers, which don't mean anything. We've already established that, right? Then second is, at least once a week, you want to have a post that sparks conversation, and ideally and strategically to find out their pain points, right? Because we don't know how they think, we're at a different place. We need to get it from them, So, what is your challenge to find vegan food? Like if you were a vegan, what is your biggest challenges when trying to stay in a vegan lifestyle? And they'll say something, they're like, oh, I need to put my food truck on the farmer's market or whatever, right? Then the third one is you're capturing the lead. You're giving them a reason to want to go to your website and sign up, because your information has been so valuable on the social media. They know when you get in your email list, you're not going to send them any, stuff. You're going to send them good information that's going to help them. Next, you're going to cultivate that lead with weekly, short, brief, little emails, newsletter to stay on the top, using your MailChimp or ConvertKit. ConvertKit, I love because it converts more, right? They have all this automation and pages. And
Tell us about it, Deborah, because some people may not know, not just me. So what's ConvertKit?
It's like a MailChimp or an Aweber, but they have all of this automation where you could segment your lists. So if you have a target market, but there's vegans, but then there's also vegetarians, And then there's also meat eaters that are casual vegan. You could actually segment, I mean, you could do that with MailChimp. ConvertKit has like templates that are like lead pages. It's like getting 3 things in one. They, you know, and it's a little more money. I think it's like $47 a month. But especially for people that don't have websites up yet, it could serve as your website. So I really like it. And it's also easy to use. That's the other thing I like. I couldn't figure out Aweber. I didn't like Constant Contact. MailChimp was basic, okay, but it wasn't advanced. So anyway, the last one is the conversion. So once you've say you do 4 newsletters a month, and one is maybe calendar of events where you're going to be, say you sell clothes and it's your pop-up. Second, say you sell clothes, right? The second newsletter, I'm going to give you like a newsletter idea. It could be clothes for spring. My friend's a PR person for Macy's. She goes on the air. She doesn't say bye, bye, bye. She's like, this is what's in season. Oh, yellow is so sunny and bright for spring. Like I have no idea. She'll say like what to do, right? So giving people ideas. Then the third one, say you're selling clothes, you could talk about, what's in, what's hot, what's not. And then you can have people vote, because remember, you want to get communication, you want engagement.
Like that.
Which would you rock, the pink or the yellow? Would you do the orange or the blue? Ask them, vote and email. So then once you've cultivated the lead, in week 4, right, you could do, we're having a special. We're doing a special campaign like Macy's does. It's Memorial Day, it's Labor Day, it's this day, it's that day. Washington, they don't care, right? Yesterday was Mermaid Day. We should buy clothes. I don't care. Reason, right? Then you do the offer. And there's a whole other thing within doing an offer, but that's when you convert. So it's kind of like, we don't ask people to marry us when we first meet us. You don't ask for the sale right away. Have you ever been to a networking group and somebody threw a card in your face?
Yes, I have. That's how finances yes, that's how the finance, years ago I did all the LA investment banking and stuff, right? And one time I remember this guy just literally came up, shoved his way in front of me and shoved this card in my hand and then took off to the next person. And that's when I was like, I so don't like being, yeah.
So that's why social media, keyword social.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal. And so the more we shift our mind, because I know a lot of you hate social media, you think of selfies and Kim Kardashian and that kind of world, Paris Hilton. But if social media is an online networking opportunity, but to make real relationships based on rapport, getting people to like your brand, trust your brand, connect with your brand, then you could start conversations that are meaningful, to find out their pain problems, solve their pain and problems in your email. And then of course they want to buy from you.
Absolutely.
It's simple, but that's.
By the way, Lauren's right on top of things as always. I just saw she captured every single one of your points and they're in the chat. Thank you, Lauren. You are great. Hey, Deborah, let's take a second to answer a question, okay? What program do you use to plan your social media post ahead of time, and how far ahead of time do you plan?
Oh, so, and this, okay, thank you, whoever asked that question. So remember when I said, when I work with SBDC clients, I start session 1, business model. Session 2, social media marketing strategy. Session 3, I have like a Google Excel template. You love Excel. It's like Excel. This is Excel. I think I'm using the Google version of Excel. But anyway.
You're second best, but you're close enough that you get thumbs up. It's at least like got Excel. An Excel platform.
I mean, you could use a fancy planner, that's visual. But I use like an Excel spreadsheet, and I work with you and we share it together. And what I've been doing for my clients is I start them off with the first week. It's kind of like a business plan. If you have a blank sheet of paper, it's overwhelming. But if you work with a consultant, they help you like fill in the blanks of what your business plan should be. You kind of know where to go. So I will fill out the first week, not for you, with you. So we'll synergistically work together as a collaboration. So I use just a template to answer that question. And I mean, me and my assistant, we're doing a month ahead of time. Right now, I took a break from that, because what happens is then you get so much business and then you have to catch up, right? So it really does work. I'm a example of it, but yeah, usually a month. But the thing with going past a month is we don't know what's happening in the world. We didn't know that Will Smith was going to slap the heck out of Chris Rock. If you were doing something, you would want to ride the wave of something about, don't take a side, but, ride the wave of Oscar mayhem. It's a good head. So you want to allow for life to happen. We didn't know all this stuff was going to happen in the Ukraine. So we want to be sensitive to life is not static. It's constantly changing. And so I don't recommend going beyond a month. So a month is pretty good. And then have some flexibility in there. And when you're doing your post, one post is an educational post, brand awareness. One post is call to action. Another post is like a social proof post, where you're having a testimonial or a rave review from one of your customers. And then another post could be like the National Mermaid Day, right? Then you have 5 posts for the week.
Okay, so Deborah, here's a loaded question, I guess. So with the different platforms, when they first started out, it was a belief that this one was for this, and this one's for this, and this one's for this. And as you expressed, they're all changing. So Facebook this, now it's not, now it's going there. So if you were to kind of just pretend I was somebody that had no knowledge that the platforms even exist, I don't have knowledge that much about the platforms, but say I didn't even know they'd exist. And I'd say, well, why would somebody be on Facebook versus Instagram versus TikTok, and why would I use one over another? And then if you're really, really brave, you can look in the goddess future and say, and this is what I think might be. So there you go, double question, go for it.
Okay, so even though what I was saying, the strategy changes, but the platforms pretty much remain the same. Facebook, started for college campuses. Remember when Zuckerberg wanted to see the single cute girls on campus?
Yeah. People don't know that, by the way, Deborah. They've lost track of that original knowledge. I've talked to more younger people that did not know that was how it started.
Yeah, that's how it started, like in a dorm room. How can you find out who the hot single cute girls are? And YouTube started when they were looking for the Janet Jackson mishap with the Super Bowl. And they're like, what if we had a system where we could organize videos so we could find them under category? That's how they created It's Always to Meet a Girl, every platform. But let me answer your question. You see the motivation behind these inventors of the platforms. So Facebook started obviously for younger people in college, but as I don't even want to say older because I'm in the older J-Lo fine wine category. I call it the J-Lo category instead of the older category. But as the parents got on, the kids got off Facebook. So if you are like a life insurance agent and you're wanting to target mature people over 40, you definitely, Facebook is for you, but then you have to know the strategy for it. What's going to work? Facebook Live and video ads. That's it, not posts. In fact, the only kind of, and especially not on the business page, because the business page is pay to play. We'll talk. I actually, through the SBDC, I have webinars on each of the platforms.
Before we hang up here, we're going to get some information that Lauren's going to let us know how to get in touch with you more. So guys, I know you're probably wondering that. That's going to come. Keep going with your story, Deborah.
Yeah. So, I have a firm belief that every small business owner should be on YouTube. And when I attended that one session of the social media conference, they confirmed that. And the reason is because Google owns search and Google owns YouTube. And many people think about your business. I know you are already. Everything I say, you're thinking about your business. Many of your customers aren't going to go to Instagram or Pinterest to find your product, but they may go to Google, right?
Yeah.
So when they go to Google and you have a presence on YouTube with the right keywords, like if the SBDC had keywords like Pasadena small business resources, we could be found in Pasadena, right? Anyway, so you could be discovered that way. So you only need one video. YouTube now has the equivalent of a TikTok. It's called YouTube Shorts. You don't have to do that. But if you're already doing Instagram Reels, you could just take it, put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube, more for your money. Instagram is a very visual platform. So it's definitely a younger crowd, 40 and younger. The CEO of Instagram announced it is no longer a photo sharing app.
Really?
Yeah. So those of you, it started as a photo sharing app, but they're never going to be able to take down TikTok because that's their goal right now. If they just do pictures, because that's not what TikTok does. TikTok does short, little, micro, entertaining, educational, fascinating videos. I never knew how to make soap. I never knew how to tie my shoes the proper way. I have these sexy shoes. I couldn't figure out how to tie them. I learned it from TikTok, right? So it's people don't have long attention spans because, and we blame the pandemic, let's blame the pandemic for this, like many other things. It's because we were all at home and we're all on social media because we don't watch the news. That's stressful. We're distracting ourselves, and it literally contracted our brain, our memory, our attention span. So it's like it went down from 2 minutes to
Scary.
45 seconds a bit. Ask like a brain expert, like Dr. Amen. You'll find out more about that. We know about that from our NLP.
Yeah.
So Instagram is great, but you have to do reels. Listen to me. You have to do reels. If you're not doing reels, you are getting 1% of your potential reach. And I tested it. Like if I do a post, maybe I'll get 180 likes, which mean nothing. If I do a reel, I might get 3,000, 5,000. I've had clients that had songs that went viral that got 15,000. And what does that mean to have views? Well, views, if you use my system, connect, converse, capture, cultivate, those views, you can get people down that cycle to convert them. You just want to make sure you have the call to action every once in a while to get on your email list. So then they'll buy what you have if you give valuable content. So that's just like a general overview. Oh, I didn't mention LinkedIn. Remember you were talking about buying email lists, Lori?
Yeah.
Did you know that LinkedIn has a service called Sales Navigator that for $79 a month, you can buy 10,000 leads?
No, I didn't know, but I'm not surprised.
I think you knew it. And it integrates into your CRM system. And the same way we old school people used to do the email list, you could
Uh-huh.
that with email. You just need to know that, the title. They have a whole database for us.
And they have a lot of people that would be unreachable, like if you were trying to get to some CEOs or CFOs, and because I would have a LinkedIn profile where I would not have an Instagram. You know what I mean? So that's very fascinating. I had no idea about that.
And this is for any of you that are doing business to business and you want to reach those Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. One of my clients, JP Morgan, and I said, well, where can I find you on Facebook? They're like, we're not on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, tell us how we can get in touch with you. Lauren will stick it into the chat. Any upcoming SBDC webinars that we must see?
I can't believe that went so fast, Lori. You're so good.
No, you are so entertaining. I have to kind of watch too because I can just sit here and talk and talk and talk. I mean, it's just amazing. In fact, someday I am going to do something more creative. Know what it's going to be, but someday, Deborah, I won't just be the black and white finance, and you are going to be my social media goddess. Then I tell you, you are definitely going to be my social media goddess. And you know what I really loved about our talk today for me, and I'm a good person to ask the questions because I'm not in it. I'm not in that world. I'm not even personally in that world. In fact, I hate social media. Okay.
That's great.
This is what you did, though. You brought it into a business contents, which, of course, to me then equals finance. And so I was just thinking, this is the first time I've had a long social media content where, this is my bias, but you're going to love what I'm going to say, where I saw value in it. Because I don't have a big social media value personally, right? But what you taught me is how there is a actual strategic plan. It's logical, it's focused, it has checkpoints, you can manage it, you can monitor it, and you can get results. And that really was the takeaway I got that was so important from this. This is just fantastic. So what's your next webinar that everybody should definitely check in? Your name's in the chat. What do you got going with the SBDC? What's your next topic and when is it?
Oh, shame on me to not have the call to action. Oh, it's today, 2:00. So today at 2:00, if you want more, actually, and if you go to www.longbeachsbdc.com at 2:00 today, I am doing a general Q&A and your cameras are on. And it's just so just think now I gave you all this information, but you have time to marinate it over lunch, and you're like, what the heck does this mean? And what was she talking about? And how does this apply to my business? I'm doing like a group Q&A. You're welcome, invited.
Excellent timing. Excellent timing. I have a belief you're going to see a bunch of people sign up for that today. That is awesome. Well, Lauren, wasn't this just another great interview with Deborah? We love having you there here, and we're going to just ask you right now, will you come back again?
Oh,
Please?
yes, I will come back all the time. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, I do social media marketing with the SBDC. So just like Lori, I do one-on-one consulting through the Lead Center, through Long Beach, through Pasadena, through Santa Barbara, through Ventura, through El Camino. So, you know, if you email me, you can let me know which center you're with. And even if you're not with one of those centers, I can get permission from your center to do like a couple sessions with you. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I love interviewing you. I love your energy. It's just so much fun, but it's so educational and interesting as well. Lauren, I'm going to pass this back to you now.
I don't know if I want it. I want to keep listening.
We can keep talking. In fact, I think we would have a really fun show if we said, hey guys, the next show, Deborah and I are going to talk. We may be talking about business and social media, but we'll just be talking about things that are fun and interesting, like NLP.
You wanted the NLP talk.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting one. I have not really had NLP discussions in a long time, but we definitely can talk about what it is because, and now I don't want to open this can because we'll go forever, but I started with NLP so long ago, and it was really in sales. And then I went all the way through for the thorough training, and it just changed not only my personal life, but my strategy. And when I did turnaround consulting, goes back to what you're saying, the special sauce. I would go into companies that were in financial trouble, and I was just known as kind of magical in these companies because I would come in and I would do things like help them get loans, get their finances in order and all this. But when somebody asked me, how do you do your turnarounds? How do you make it work? It's the NLP. I got everybody on the same page. I got rid of people who I didn't need to, that sometimes I had to get rid of people, but it was really knowing how people process and communicate information, how they think, their limits, and then being able to communicate and get rapport on their level. Because at the end of the day, you can put more money in a company, you can do anything. But what is going to make a company successful is the company has to move, like you said, one lane. They got to move in a single-minded focus, and everybody has to be on board. And when you don't have much money and you're in a financial crisis, everybody really needs to be on board. Think about, the boat floating, and then all of a sudden it's got holes in it. You need everybody bailing out the water to make it work. And so really, because I went into kind of emergency triage situations, my ability to understand and communicate people, I would say, was the biggest for the results. So yeah, we'll have to hear it. Guys in the audience, you want to have a Deborah Lori conversation about NLP, we can get one going.
NLP for sales success. Thank you. Annie put my information about, I'm doing several workshops, webinars, so they're virtual in April with Pasadena Small Business Development.
Thank you, Annie.
Annie, you're the best.
Annie's another one. Annie, by the way, is always a lot in the audience, and Annie is in charge of the SBDC in Pasadena. I forget her actual title, Annie, because I just know you so long I don't pay attention to it, but she's in the administrative offices of the SBDC in Pasadena and helps all the wonderful clients there get signed up and get passed on to Deborah and myself and the other advisors for help. So a shout out and thanks to Annie.
All right, I'll see you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you, Lori. Today was nothing short of amazing. Thank you, thank you. To all of you who joined us today, thank you. Another note on Annie, she is amazing at our Pasadena campus. We have other admins that are just as amazing at our other campuses as well. So regardless of what area you're in, contact the Los Angeles Regional SBDC network, and we'll be sure to get you connected with one of our fabulous admins so that we can then get you connected with our social media goddess and or guru of all numbers, Lori Williams and Deborah Deras. So to you ladies, go ahead.
And I was going to say thank you, everybody. I know Lauren's going to stay a little bit later. She always does. She collects the last minute data and gets to you. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you to my wonderful audience that comes, my frequent flyers. We wouldn't have this without you. Heart goes out to everybody that comes to the show every week. We'll see you next week. Bye, Lauren. Bye, Deborah.
Bye, Lori. Bye, Deborah. Thank you. I'm going to sit back a little bit. Annie, thank you so much for putting that information related to what Deborah has going on at Pasadena. So thank you for that. I also reposted, so hopefully everyone received that. To all of you, thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you with us next week. Same time, same place, Zoom on Wednesday at 10 a.m. I'm gonna repost my welcome to you so that you can see the link to our YouTube so you can receive view our recordings from past shows. There is also a link to a new client form. And with that, you can become an SBDC client if you are not one already. Finally, I've included my email address so that in case you needed to get in contact with Lori, and a link to our form. And on that form, you are able to submit questions that you may not have been able to ask during the show, as well as submit potential show topics, and let us know if you want to be a guest. So again, to all of you, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful week.